The Cleveland Browns have never won a Super Bowl. Hopefully, at least so far, but this story is not about the future, it's about the past. We're going to rewind, no pun intended. I'm going to name the top NFL players and names that once played and represented Cleveland, but then went on to win a Super Bowl for another team. For starters, we gotta go with the most recent Super Bowl with OBJ. Odell Beckham Jr. played for the Browns from 2019 to 2021, and then during the 2021 season, he ended up winning the Super Bowl with the Rams just after playing for just a portion of the season. For whatever reason, he did not seem to mesh well while playing in Cleveland. Though to be fair, he did run into some injuries, but it did seem like it was a mistake by the lake to let OBJ play for the Browns. The next player on this list is one of the Browns' greatest quarterbacks of all time, and that's Bernie Kosar, who spent the majority of his prime playing in Cleveland. He led the Browns to many playoff runs, but never made it to a Super Bowl. You would think that Bernie having a coach like Bill Belichick, a duo like that could win at least, say, 6 Super Bowl rings. But the truth is, these two could not see eye to eye on any given strategy or play style. Bill likes to run a defensive offense, and Bernie likes to play an unorthodox style and have an offensive offense. Bernie has one of the most awkward throwing styles in NFL history. You would think this is a bad thing, but it worked towards his advantage because his throws were so awkward, no defense could predict where the ball was going until it was too late. Even during his early days in high school and in college, Bernie's coaches did not want to mess with how he threw the ball. If it wasn't broke, don't fix it, even if it looks broken. It worked and they kept it going. Fast forward to the NFL, Bernie's expecting to continue this play style. There were even moments when Bernie decided to go against Bill's plays and run his own plays, many of which that were successful, but Bill ended up pressuring the Browns organization to trade Bernie, and that's exactly what happened. Bernie ended up in Dallas and was an instant success over there. Whenever Troy Aikman couldn't play, Bernie was the next best thing to take his spot, and he ended up winning a Super Bowl with the Cowboys. Ironically, Bernie's last game as a Cleveland Brown was against the Broncos, an old rival, and his last play was a play that he drew up on his own against Bill Belichick's orders. It was a successful play, it worked out great, but that was the final straw for Bill. He wanted Bernie out. The Browns chose Bill over Bernie, but I wonder how history would have turned out if they chose Bernie over Bill, or what would have happened if they saw eye to eye. Maybe they could have had 6 Super Bowl rings. Speaking of which, Bill Belichick is the next person on our list, and while he isn't technically an NFL player, he has 6 Super Bowl rings as an NFL coach. He coached his first 5 seasons in Cleveland, then the rest in New England. I don't need to remind you what comes next for him and his 6 rings. But even if the franchise kept him, would he still be playing in Cleveland? Because next on our list is the entirety of the Baltimore Ravens organization. Yep, everything, the whole plate. Commonly known as the move in the history of Cleveland heartbreaks. 9 games into that 1995 NFL season, the Browns were 4-5, and the owner at the time, Odell, announced that the Browns were going to be relocated to Baltimore. The reason he chose to relocate was because Cleveland needed a new stadium, since they used to share an old stadium with the Indians but could no longer, since that stadium got really old and the Indians decided to move to Jacobs Field. Odell said he chose Baltimore specifically because that city had the funding to build a first-class stadium, and well, that's the reason he gave. The fans had another theory in mind, believing that he was actually just too cheap to invest in Cleveland and chose his own pockets and greed over the fans' support for this team. The Ravens won their first Super Bowl in 2001, just 5 years after existing, something that Cleveland couldn't even do for decades and counting. The Browns eventually came back to the NFL in 1999, but as far as Super Bowls are concerned, who knows when that drought's going to end. But hey, at least they're NFL champions thanks to Jim Brown. As for Super Bowls, well, maybe you have that answer. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think the Browns can win a Super Bowl anytime soon? What's their realistic odds within the next, say, 5 seasons? Or maybe you don't think the Browns can ever win a Super Bowl. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to tackle that like button and subscribe with notifications turned on. I'm Touchdown Rewind, and I'll fast forward to you later.